All right, what's good, everybody? This is Goat James Kingdom. I'm B Lee. I'm here with my boy JG. Hey, Johnny ain't gonna be on today. Ralph not gonna be on our crate. They got Mother's Day stuff going on. So, go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody.
What's going on, everybody? JG, ready to get this goat talk talking. Let's go.
All right. Let me hold up. Let me share the stream. So, basically, what we're gonna talk about today is how to determine the all-time greatest scores. So, everybody likes to say it's always Jordan is the greatest all-time greatest scorer, because they like the way he shoot fadeaways. So that's really the only way that they actually judge who is the all-time great scorer. What's up, Keeper 100 and Frederick? What's up, you guys? Thanks for showing up again. I know it's Mother's Day. A lot of people got things to do, barbecuing, but me and JG live in Phoenix, so it's 9 o'clock. Ain't nobody getting up at 9 o'clock barbecuing today. So we'll probably start at like 10, but definitely not ain't no 9. But so let me go ahead. Let me go to the first slide that I got right here. All right, so this is the first slide I got. So who's the better scorer, basically? So we got Michael Jordan and LeBron James shooting the same shot attempts. You see that LeBron James has more points in the regular season and in the postseason on the same shot attempts. And then we got them. I had to add Jordan postseason field goal attempts to see basically who scored the most points on the same field goals attempts, but Jordan quit all those times, so we had to add extra attempts. And Michael Jordan is still behind LeBron James. What you think about that, dude?
Honestly, man, the whole goat debate is funny to me, because it's all subjective. If you're looking outside of the numbers, you can choose whoever you want to be the goat. And just the arguments up and down about the whole situation. And then when it comes to scoring, I mean, LeBron is the all-time leading scorer. um you know Jordan was a dog when he played like that. Like, I don't get the battle between the two groups of fans. um Jordan was a dog, yes, he was. LeBron, same way. Like, Kobe was the same. It's like, can't these dudes just be great without, you know, um, the battle? The numbers are there for a reason. Numbers are there for a reason, and it's to keep track of what people are doing. And LeBron has all of the numbers. No matter how good Jordan was at scoring, or how much you like the way his game looked. I mean, LeBron has the numbers. So, you could say longevity all you want to, uh, but you got to take into account this man playing all these games, played all those Olympic games, uh, you know, eh, injuries and all that, and then him being 38 right now and still doing the same thing, basically he was doing when he first came into the league. It's like, come on, man, give that man his flowers.
He's actually doing better when he just came in, which is crazy. um, Frederick said that Jordan wouldn't be able to guard like most of these lineups because Pippen would guard him. Pippen did take on the toughest matchups. Um, longevity matters. So there's really no debate between talking LeBron and Jordan. For me, I always put Jordan there, with LeBron because Jordan dominated his era. So um,
Hmm.
Jordan, he dominated the '90s. People say it's the greatest era. Some people say it wasn't the greatest. So it's always people's opinion. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, Johnny, he can't be on today, but he said it's hard to accept numbers. It's hard to accept numbers. What's up, Philip? Yeah, Philip, thanks for coming back today. All right, so as we move on, a lot of Jordan fans always talk about the reason LeBron is the all-time leading scorer because Kareem didn't shoot threes or Jordan didn't shoot a lot of threes, which I don't really understand that argument. I It just doesn't make any sense. Just because you shoot more threes, you make more threes. That means you shouldn't get as many points. I don't understand what they're talking about. But as you can see, no matter if you shoot more threes and play more games, you got to make the shots. That's why Reggie Miller and Vince Carter don't have more points than Michael Jordan. They made more threes, they played more games, and they're significantly less in points because Michael Jordan shot more field goal attempts
Mm.
by far. They say Jordan played only 11 full seasons, and these guys played 18 to 22, and Michael Jordan has significantly shot more shot attempts than them. So playing longer and shooting more 3-point attempts don't matter at all because the only thing that matters is how many times you shoot the ball. And even when Jordan, missed a shot, he got fouled a lot of times. So Jordan's always chugging the ball up, putting the ball up. So that's not really an argument. So when I took out the 3 pointers and the free throw attempts, LeBron still is going to score more than Michael Jordan, even though Michael Jordan shoot more shot attempts. LeBron still going to score more because he's more efficient.
Mm.
We got Travis coming on. What's up, good, Travis?
What's up, gentlemen?
What's up? Have,
What's
have
going
have you
on?
been hearing what we've been saying so far?
Not as
Not
of
nothing
yet.
like that. Okay. All right. So I know these graphs that I posted on our group this week, just talking about how Michael Jordan shot more field goal attempts than LeBron, and LeBron still scored more points. And the whole conversation is who is the greater scorer of all time. And we all think it's LeBron James if you go by the numbers, and most Jordan fans believe that it's Michael Jordan because you go by points per game, right?
I mean, it's really just a matter of like what kind of context you're using. Like, if so LeBron, the reason why he's scored more is he's slightly more efficient, and because he used the three ball like a lot more than Mike did because of like mainly the era. Uh, but also like how many quadrants are there on the floor? Like there's like 3 point, like 3 3 point quadrants, and there's the mid range. Mike shot better from almost everywhere outside of the 3 point range than LeBron, and like the middle of the floor or the bucket or nearby outside of 3 feet. It really just depends. I think Mike was far better at getting his own shot, more accurate mid range marksman. Again, it's really just a matter of LeBron taking more threes, which he's a better 3 point shooter than Mike by a like percentage and a half or whatever. But again, it was era. LeBron's a great scorer, no doubt. But I mean, if you're looking for someone to just like go get a bucket using superior footwork, a better back to basket game, uh, like I said, just besides someone just bullying to the rim, I mean, you got to go with Mike. Otherwise, like I said, if you're just going off efficiency, then I have that chart that says the best shooter of all time is DeAndre Jordan. Because he leads in field goal percentage and true field goal percentage. So it's like, or true shooting percentage. So it's like, are you just going to offer that or just going to factor in everything? So,
Well, I think that's pretty funny how you say that LeBron is a great scorer. LeBron is the greatest scorer in NBA history because he scored more points than anybody. So he's
mhm.
not just a great scorer; he's the greatest scorer in NBA history. And for one thing, Jordan playing with his back to the basket, and LeBron he's basically a point guard. And we all saw Steph Curry last series play point guard. It's hard to play point guard and score. It's hard to play point guard and score. That's why Draymond Green is so valuable on that squad because it allows Steph Curry to get into his, rhythm, get into where he wants on the court, the space on the court, just like Scottie Pippen. He when in those crucial moments, he allowed Jordan to get to those points where he needed to score. And with LeBron, he is so good bringing the ball up the court and scoring. There has never been someone like LeBron James who can bring the ball up and dictate what he needs to do and put the ball in the hole. Of course, if you're gonna post up and get to your spot, you're going to have better opportunities to score. That's what makes what LeBron do so difficult. That's why nobody could do. You saw Steph Curry try to do it. They completely took Draymond Green out of the series because they wasn't guarding him, and Steph Curry could not get into the shots. And we saw Steph Curry he missed the most shots he probably ever missed in a playoff series in his life. The dude couldn't make a shot for nothing because he's constantly
Yeah.
bringing the ball up the court, has to navigate his shot, has to pass the ball to other players because he just could not do what he wants to do. And that's one of the things why, it's hard to even judge what LeBron do because people just don't understand how difficult it is. They just don't understand.
I just want to chime in for a second. When it comes to the whole scoring, even like I said earlier with the debate in and of itself, um, you have two different, individuals that bring two different skill sets to the basketball court. Um, Mike's game was 101. I'm gonna get a bucket. LeBron's game was okay, get the team involved. If I need to get a bucket, get a bucket. So when it comes to the debate about who's the greatest scorers, like of course, LeBron is the greatest scorer because he has the most points. I think most people get caught up in the visual of what Jordan did versus the visual of what LeBron does. And it takes them into, okay, I see Michael Jordan doing more one-on-one and scoring, so he's a better scorer, which is probably true. Like he does, like Kobe. When they asked Kobe, who could beat you one-on-one? Nobody could beat me one-on-one because that's what I do. LeBron's totally different. That's not what he does. He doesn't just take people one-on-one. That's Carmelo Anthony, Kevin Durant, Kobe, Mike. That's what they did. So like I said, the whole debate, and the way a lot of people take the debate personally, it's gotten me to the point where I just don't even entertain the debate anymore fully, because anytime you bring up something in favor of LeBron, most people automatically go to a negative mindset. They hate him. They start calling you names. Like it's just crazy to me. And I just want the individuals that are listening that are Michael Jordan fans, um, to let me know, or let us know, like why is it so personal? Why do you guys take it so personally when, if someone feels like LeBron is the GOAT, why does you guys take it personally and start attacking people when they, if they say that?
No, I agree. I stopped really super caring, like a long time ago. It's just kind of fun at this point. But I mean, no, I mean, you're right. I mean, there's arguments you can make for almost anything, like, and it goes both ways. It's just about context. Like, does LeBron have the most points? Yes. Does he score the most per game? No, he's like 7th or 8th on that list or something. But yeah, you're right. He has been undeniably the most consistent player in NBA history, from a scoring perspective. Like, for sure, year in, year out, you can guarantee he's going to get his numbers. And what Brandon said is right. Especially recently, he's been playing, like, probably ever since he got from LA or to LA, consistently playing point guard, setting up his team. That's why they had a lot of success in 2020. I don't think it's a lot more dependent on that this year. I think they're getting a lot more team contribution this year, a big time, especially from the recent acquisitions from the trade. You got Walker, you got Reeves playing out of his mind. Their defensive intensity has been huge. Warriors just did not have a game plan in game 6. I thought they played great in 5. They were attacking the basket. They were trying to, not settle for jumpers, blah, blah. They were getting the line semi-frequently. And then they just went back to what they were doing, like, in game 4, which was stupid. They were just jacking up threes. just trying to create a lot of one-on-one ball, not enough screens, not enough play design. Clay was garbage again. So was Curry. But hey, man, all credit to the Lakers. No hate, and like I think it's going to be a great series with the Nuggets. I'm not counting anyone out. They're both healthy, which is awesome. But yeah, as far as like the actual debate goes, I just think it's you just like take it for what it is. Like, who's the greatest passer? Is it Stockton because he has the most assists, or is it Magic because his entire resume and he has more assists per game? Like, debate that with yourselves. But it's just a zero-sum game when it comes to that. But I think regardless, at the end of the day, all these guys that we talk about all the time are obviously going to go down as top 5 players at worst, like regardless of really who it is. So it's just the order that matters.
Yeah, and to get on the John Stockton thing, I was one of the people a few months ago saying John Stockton, was kind of overrated. you know, uh, But, I just went back and listened to a lot of players. Like, I listened to Jason Kidd and Gary Payton. Like, they really have John Stockton as the greatest point guard of all time. And I just did understand, like, why would, they have John Stockton as the greatest point guard of all time when there's somebody called Magic Johnson who played in the NBA and, Isaiah Thomas. But just listening to them, they were saying that, John Stockton is the greatest passer of the ball. Both of them are first ballot Hall of Famers, legends, and they are saying John Stockton over Magic Johnson. So you have to actually listen to what they're saying. And, it makes sense, what John Stockton did on the court, we haven't seen before. Like, no matter as much, hate that you could give John Stockton for not winning, for not doing that. Like, the dude is so far ahead in assists that it's not even a question. I know Magic Johnson said like if he never was forced to retire, he would definitely have that record, but he does not. He do not have it. So you can't really
Mm-hmm.
knock John Stockton for that. And what he did is amazing. What
Mm-hmm.
he did is amazing to have all those assists that's really out of reach at this moment. Like there's no one who's even gonna come close to that in the next 20 years that we could see. I know there's a lot of teams scoring more points because of 3-point shots. It looks like someone might pass them in the future, but currently right now there's no one in the NBA who's gonna be close to breaking that record. That record is out of reach at the moment. Just like we can't really see anyone, getting close to LeBron James and scoring while he's still playing. Like there's not one player in the NBA that we could say is gonna reach 40,000 points.
That's facts, man. And I mean, Stockton also leads in steals. Like, only player to
Yeah.
ever lead in 2 of those categories. It's
I mean,
like,
he's far ahead of steals too. He's
like,
far
how
ahead
is
of
he not in
steals
our
too.
top 10? Like, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Like one of the things that like pushed me towards Stockton. I know I heard Gary Payton and Jason Kidd say it, and I can't really put him above Isaiah and Magic. I just cannot. I cannot put him above Isaiah and Magic. And then I started looking at, my favorite analytic, value over replacement. And if you look
Mm-hmm.
out through the 90s, it's John Stockton right under Jordan. You look in career, John Stockton is number 3. I like John Stockton. I was wrong. I was completely wrong. I've been wrong for like 10 years on John Stockton. John Stockton is a great basketball player.
He's underrated,
He's
man.
a great basketball player. Like a lot of
You
people
want
have
to
him.
you want to know why he's underrated?
Wow.
Because of the titles. It for some reason
Yeah.
everyone's taking not having a title and making that your career. Like everyone doesn't win. Everyone doesn't win the championship. What did you do individually, and what were your team able to do? Like what were you able to help your team do to be successful? Every team is not going to win. It's 32 teams. Everyone's not going to win. So somebody has to lose, somebody has to win. But as a player, what did you do individually? That's a team award. A world championship is a team award. It's not one person. It's not a one person award. So when we argue how many championships someone has, when it comes to talent, that means absolutely nothing. It means absolutely nothing when it comes to someone's individual talent. They weren't on a good enough team to win a championship, but what did this person contribute to that team, and what did they do individually to be successful? Like the championship debate, it pisses me off because everyone just hangs their hat on if someone won a championship. It doesn't matter how great you were, but oh, you didn't win a championship, so you're like, no. And that debate didn't start until recently. Like, I remember growing up, I never heard anyone call Jerry West a loser. I never heard anyone call Charles Barkley and Patrick Ewing. I never heard anyone call them losers when we were growing up playing basketball. Those guys were great players because of what they did individually. Yeah, they didn't win championships, but no one ever really cared about their championships until recently. This recent GOAT debate between LeBron, Mike, Kobe has sparked this whole, if you didn't win the championship, you weren't a great player. It's crazy.
Oh, I agree completely, man.
I think they cared about it. It just wasn't considered a failure for a career. I think that's the thing.
I agree completely with you, man. Like, you can't, like what you said is spot on. Like, there's not going to be, you can't just be like, oh, he has more rings. Because then you get, if that's the sole criteria, then you just don't know basketball. Because there's people who have passively, like, everyone from the Celtics roster has like 8-9 rings or whatever in the 60s. So it's like, are they the GOATs? No. But, you got to get the whole resume. But, like, say you strip away all the accolades and everything. And I think I'd still probably take Magic just because he was such a versatile scorer as well.
I think I would.
And he was just the 3 MVPs helped, but you're right. If Stockton had that same team or was on that same team, who's to say he wouldn't have 3, 4, 5 rings also? But it's tough. I think it was a wash defensively. Maybe Stockton was a little bit better even than Magic, but it was it's just
all defensive teams. So
exactly.
Not just Stockton.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but I mean, it's like it's just like, how are you ranking? Like, just a great, like what you said there, JG. Like, there's actually this video that Jimmy High Roller made like a couple months ago that takes everything out of the equation, but it's about who had the greatest season and peak of all time, and he only uses like stats and analytics, and doesn't use MVPs or rings or anything like that. It's pretty cool. And like, it's like a lot of people you wouldn't expect are up there. But yeah, it's like, I think that if someone comes in screaming rings, like it doesn't matter because like what if your team was garbage? Like what if Melo was drafted to, the Celtics and KG went over there or something? But, it's just a big what if game, but yeah, I don't judge based on rings alone. The only time I use rings is like you can add as an afterthought, be like, hey, also this guy was the driving force behind so-and-so rings. Like LeBron has 4 rings. He was the best player on every team that won a ring, aside from maybe 2020. But it's just like, and he has finals MVPs to show it. So that's when you can say it, but like I said, just
the tiebreaker. Yeah, the tiebreaker.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that. So, yeah, that's true. Like growing up, we didn't really hear the ring argument because if that was the case, Scottie Pippen would be rated higher than people now. But like they pick and choose to do it. They pick and choose to do it, and it's really comes from the media. Like the media is the reason. Like where this come from? This ring argument because no one ever called Reggie Miller a failure. Like so he had a great career. I'm not the biggest Reggie Miller fan, but I wouldn't say his career is a failure because he never won a title. Like his career was, if you look at overall, his career was great. If he even won a ring, I don't know how much better it would make him if he won a ring. Like I don't know how much better that made David Robinson because he won, 2 rings. He's a great player.
Oh yeah,
he's a great player.
Robinson, I think, is underrated. One of the most underrated players of all time.
Oh, for sure.
I think he's underrated. I don't think he's underrated.
You don't hear people talk about him a lot when it comes, like especially when it comes to centers. They don't really throw David Robinson in there a lot. It's always Kareem, Wilt, Shaq, and Elijah Wan. They rarely throw David Robinson in there.
there was this interesting graph
I
I
don't
saw
think
that
he's over them though.
I'd put him. I mean, like I said, Kareem is like I think he's the best because he didn't only have longevity; he also had like 14 all defensive teams. So Kareem was just doing it on both ends forever. But so was Robinson. And like he had like there was this graph I saw the other day where it said the players who had the most voting or top 5 voting seasons in both MVP and DPOY, and like Robinson had like 5 or 6 seasons where he finished like top 5, which is incredible. But yeah, I mean I think that Shaq had a better peak of dominance than Robinson. But Robinson, like especially in the '90s, was just going ham on people, and like he was right up there going to war with Kareem or Hakeem, and yeah. But if you look at like PER and seasons, like Robinson stacks up. He just didn't have the hardware all around. But again, that's like the rings. I think if he would have gotten Timmy a little early in his career,
He has
probably would've been.
two rings, so
he does have 2 rings, yeah, and he has an MVP. So
rings,
it's
right. Yeah, I don't like. Do you rate him a top 5 center?
100%.
You guys
Oh,
rate
yeah.
him top 5 center?
Yeah,
So
it goes
who-
like Kareem, Hakeem, Shaq, Robinson, Wilt. I'm so hesitant to put Bill, dude, because any of those guys back then would crush Bill. Bill just has the accolades.
I don't put him as a top 5 center. You already said Kareem, Shaq, Wilt, Hakeem, like those 4. That's clearly over him. You basically saying. So you
Well, no,
basically
I
put him
mean
at-
you can make it. I think that him and Hakeem for me are top 5 for sure, but they're interchangeable because I think they were both amazing. But I think Hakeem maybe a little bit better defensively, better footwork. But it just Robinson certainly deserves to be up there in the conversation. It just the body of his work was really good, but it's just he was better. He was amazing on both ends. Great 2-way player. Moses Malone up there as well.
Mhm.
It's just tough to say, who was the. I think Kareem is really the only one solidified at number 1. Then you can make an argument going down the list.
Yeah, I don't like. I see him outside the top 5 range. So
hmm
yeah, I don't have Dave Robson in the top 5 because those other guys just had better careers. Like
Yeah.
you said, you couldn't put Bill Russell. You put him above Bill Russell, but Bill Russell dominated his era more than anybody in NBA history.
Oh, I agree. He dominated, but it's just like if you put one of those guys in that era, would the result be the same?
I mean, you can't really say that. So that's why I say, he dominated his era. Just like I heard, like I was talking to this one dude about how the '60s probably had the toughest era because they had the fewest teams. And I guess he couldn't wrap his mind around what I was trying to say. So if you have the best players, there are only 8 teams, they're not going to get the worst players to play on those 8 teams. Like they're going to get the best players to play on 8 teams. So if you narrow down the '90s to 8 teams, it's going to be tougher. You narrow down today to 8 teams is going to be tougher. Bill Russell said the same thing. The reason that his era was tougher because a lot of players that was playing during Jordan eras would not be on those teams because you could only have the best 100 players instead of the best 400 players. So it's going to be tougher.
Oh yeah, I agree. When using that logic, then I mean that's this. I completely agree. It's because, yeah, I mean it's his era. He wasn't, magically transferred back in time with all the medical advancements from today. He was just doing it, period. And so that's why, yeah, he's definitely a top 10 player because yes, he dominated his era.
Also, the same thing with like Babe Ruth. Like we don't really say Babe Ruth not the greatest players, even though there's hundreds of players who are better hitters like today because of what they have today. But we don't do that to Babe Ruth. But we seem to do
Yeah,
this to
that's why I think
Bill Russell all
the
the time.
era. Yeah, I think the era argument is like when you're using it straight up compared to players, it's kind of instead of just like, okay, here's the tier of players, like who dominated their eras. It's just tough because You can say what if, but yeah, I think when you're dominating your era consistently, then yeah, that absolutely does mean something. And I mean, really, nobody did it better than Bill in that regard. So, 100% correct.
Um, all right. Let me see. So let me see what our panel is saying. Ghost says awards given by the media, but stats are earned is not given. That's true. That's why.
Completely agree. I completely agree. Biased media, yes.
Yeah, that's why, most people in different camps choose LeBron over Jordan because of what he did on the court, and the opposite way. They say Jordan had a Hall of Fame career over LeBron James because of, the major awards and the team accomplishments, which is great. Two more titles, two more finals MVPs, another regular season MVPs. That's a
More
lot.
offensive games.
You know, that's a lot. Yeah, the all defensive first team awards and everything, just like that. That's a lot. But at the end of the day, you know, a lot of times those are just voted on by certain media, um, you know, people. So just
Well,
like
sure, but if you're winning them consistently, I would say that it means more than, oh, this guy just won once out of his 15-year career. But if someone has like the most ever in like several categories or like a lot, then I don't think it's biased in any way. I think people are looking at stats and analytics. It's not any kind of a narrative. Otherwise, you can say, okay, then no one deserves an MVP, or you can make an argument for anyone else. I think there's very few times where the MVP should have gone to someone else. Uh, Aside from like Nash and stuff like that. But I mean, you can make that argument. I don't think it's biased, except for I think people have been wrong sometimes. But I just think that you can't discount those things. If you want to go by per game stats, then you have a whole slew of people like Mike scored more points, more steals, more blocks, better in most per game advanced stats, better overall defensive rating. I mean, you're not going to find more people who beat Mike in a per game stat. I mean, if you wanted to go by stats, I mean, totals, that's a different story. But if we're just doing per game, that's also where Mike stands out.
The
So,
thing with that is that, per game is for certain seasons, and Jordan per games were always the highest when he wasn't winning. Like, that's my thing. Like, of course, if you're not winning, just like Kevin Love, you're playing on a bad team, your per game stats is going to be good. But once, you start winning, once you start advancing more, you have seen Jordan field goal percentage decrease because you actually have to play more of a team ball. You just can't jack up everything you want. So his per game was always highest when he was losing, basically. So that's why I
mhm.
don't, take season by season. I go for the whole career. Like, who's the best for a whole career? Now, who's the best for seasons? You have to be, if you want to be the greatest player of all time, you can't go by what you did in a season. Because if that's the case, Bill Chamberlain is the greatest player we ever seen because the dude averaged 50 and 20 for a season. Like,
No,
there's
I
there's
agree.
no way
I
around it.
agree.
And a lot of people
Yeah.
want to go by PER, which I think is not a great stat to use because um they say Michael Jordan is great because of PER, but you could find 6 or 7 seasons that's higher than what Michael Jordan ever had in PER of all time. So to me, PER doesn't state who's the greatest player is because no one puts Anthony Davis in the top 3 of all time because he's top 3 in PER are Jokic. Like,
Well, yeah, I mean,
those
that's
are the
why.
stats that I don't really use. Those are the advanced stats that Jordan have over LeBron. Just to me, it's things that really you can't use. That's why I go to more value over replacement. And like you say, Jordan, you go by season. Jordan had the highest. If you go by career, LeBron has the highest. If you go by 15 years, LeBron has the edge on Michael Jordan in 15 seasons because of value over replacement player. Like, that stat shows you who really is, the greatest players of all time. And that's why Michael Jordan and LeBron is 1 and 2. And no matter how you slice those up, they will always be 1 and 2, no matter if you're going by season or by careers. Like, those will be
Well, yeah,
the
I mean, if
two
we're going by
best
total
players of
career,
all time.
then Mike still has him in those stats that I mentioned per game basis right now. Like he has him in steals, blocks, points, fewer turnovers, better free throw percentage, win shares plus 48, box plus minus, higher defensive rating overall. And this is, again, after Mike retired. So, yes,
I mean,
LeBron hasn't been told.
higher defensive rating do not actually relate to LeBron because of the errors. Like that is an actual error thing.
I mean, it is what it is, man. I mean, it's just,
If you actually score less in an era, your defensive rating is going to be
well, yeah, I
higher. That's
mean,
why
but
there's a lot of players higher than Jordan, and that doesn't mean they're better defenders than Jordan.
sure, but I mean,
Like,
it's like,
yeah, a lot of people do not understand what certain stats are, and that's why they list them off. They don't really know how to explain it. Like PR, they don't really know how to explain it. They just know Jordan is first, and they don't really know how to explain it. They think it's a like shooting percentage efficiency. And when you go around, LeBron shoots a higher field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, 2-point percentage, effective field goal percentage, true shooting percentage, and Jordan only has them in free throw percentage. Like there's a lot of things that a lot of people just don't know how to explain. They just see that Michael Jordan is number one, and a lot of times
but I
it's due
mean,
to his era.
a lot of it is like that's true, but you can't just be like, oh, hey, this is because of the error or something, and just kind of ignore the error argument for someone else, like we did for Bill Russell. It's
No,
just
no
you got
one's
to
no one's
take it.
ignoring the era. I always say Bill
Yeah,
Russell dominated his era.
yeah.
That's
So I
why
mean,
I don't put Bill Russell above Jordan because he got more titles. Both of them have the most titles in their era. Just like LeBron has the most titles in his era. You like
please tie for the most. Yeah.
Jordan fans gets things misconstrued when they go by, certain things that Jordan have over LeBron because they don't understand it's a era thing. You dominate your era a certain way. That's just how it is.
Oh no, I agree. So if you're dominating your era and your stats are, I don't think you can be like, okay, cool. So here's this, like I said, if you didn't have the names or the eras and you just had resumes, and you saw that one player was greater or supposedly greater than this other player, and you didn't have context, you would automatically take the other or the player with a better resume. But you're right. Like when you can explain certain things, so you can say, okay, with context, yeah, the pace is greater, things like that. Exactly. But does that, like you said, it's with LeBron and the defensive rating, does that mean that he's a poor defender Jordan just based on whatever? You can take it as you want, but yeah, it's error thing, and that's why it's tough to just straight up head to head compare them when you're doing that. Uh, if we're, it's like who else would you compare LeBron to? Like otherwise, that's why I think the GOAT debate is completely subjective. You can make your argument like who dominated their era is better. That's what I think it should be. Honestly, is like who dominated the era more,
Yeah,
their
I
own
actually
era.
created a graph about like who dominated their era, like what they did in their era. And I didn't take Jordan last two years. So as you see,
Mhm.
like he's he's like completely dominated his era. MVPs, all NBA first team, defensive first team, points, value replacement player, win share, defensive win shares, offensive win shares, box plus or minus, defensive box plus or minus. Like he dominated his era. In the postseason, you go that titles, finals MVPs, points, steals, like all this stuff is how he dominated his era. But when you go to LeBron, he dominated his era more, but that doesn't translate for him because people just see Michael Jordan points per game and titles. They see those 10 scoring titles and those 6 titles, and that completely says, LeBron didn't really do much. Like if you look what he did in the postseason, from the time he stepped on the court, he's been probably the greatest postseason player we ever seen. But he gets called a loser. He gets called a loser because he made it to the championship round and lost, and he didn't lose before the championship round. That's basically what it is. Like both of
Yeah.
these guys dominated their eras. You know, you could pick whoever you want to pick, but it's not a thing how they treat LeBron. They treat LeBron like it's not the media, but the media has a part in treating LeBron this way because when LeBron was passing Kareem Abdul and the total points, they would try to revert back to he lost 6 finals. Like this has been a thing in the media that they punish LeBron for losing in the finals for some odd reason. I don't understand why they punish LeBron for losing the finals. It just don't make any sense. And then they'll go around saying LeBron's the second greatest player of all time. They bring up LeBron negative to rate him and Michael Jordan. They don't bring anything up negative about Jordan when they're talking about who's the greatest player of all time. But to put Michael Jordan number one, they discuss what LeBron didn't do up to their standards. And a lot of times, what they say about LeBron James is something that no one has ever done before. They really expect LeBron James to lead a team in his 20th year to a title when no one in history has ever had that expectation on them. They expected LeBron to come into the league and be the best player of all time at a teenager. They literally was talking about drafting LeBron out of high school as a junior. Like this is the expectations that they put on LeBron James that it don't really make any sense, and his body of work would never translate to how great he is as a player because we see it right now. Maybe it's because he's still playing, but his body of work would never translate to how great he is. And Michael Jordan body of work will always translate to why he is the GOAT because of what he did on the court.
I mean, dude, you're preaching to the choir. Like I said, I don't knock people for the same things. You see some media people talk. Like I would never be like, oh, LeBron only made blah blah blah. Like I said, that's a great accomplishment. He made it there a ton of times. Obviously, there's context around that, sure, but you're right. Like that's outside of Bill, that's something that's really hasn't been done, and I don't think it's a negative thing that he lost. I think he was overmatched in a lot of those series. Obviously, um, I don't think we can discount uh, what anyone else has done. I don't think it's an insult at all to say this person's number 2 or 3 or whatever, because how many players have played? Thousands.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, if you're in the argument for 1, 2, or 3 top whatever, that's still amazing. You must have one of the best resumes of all time, and so
Well,
that's
if you
why
are
I
a,
think
like
it's
a,
such
like
a
Mount Rushmore player, like there's no argument if you're a Mount Rushmore player.
yeah,
Anybody top four could change. Like if you're in
yeah.
that top four range, there's no like negative things about it. It's just when they talk about LeBron, they bring up the negative things of why he's number two, which doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, like I said, I think you just need to be more objective. Like negative things, you could say every player. If you're like, oh, what did they do that was negative? Like you're like, oh, the common thing for Mike is, oh, he needed Pippen or he lost a bird twice, whatever. And there's things like that, but with absolutely zero context. And again, they do that to LeBron too, when they're like, oh, LeBron had home court advantage in '09 and 10, and should have faced Kobe in the finals, but he lost. Yes, he lost, but there were other teams. I think they were just better equipped to handle them. Uh, they overachieved because LeBron was amazing in those seasons. Also, um,
Mhm,
I think really the only black stain probably was obviously 2011, but then
mhm,
they made up for it the 2 years after that, or they've been after that, and so it's just like there's things you can nitpick about any player, but when you have to go to that, it's like they have fewer black marks than players who aren't going to sniff the top 10 or 20. So that's why they're up there.
mhm. What you think, JG?
Yeah, I agree. It's a matter of just looking at it. Like for me, um, anybody asks me like who my favorite player is or who the greatest player is, I know who the greatest player of all time is, but I'm gonna always say Kevin Garnett because that was my favorite player ever. Like I don't care what Dirk did, I don't care what Tim Duncan did. It's just my favorite player ever. But I don't badmouth Dirk. I don't badmouth Tim to make my argument for Kevin Garnett. I just tell people this is why I love Kevin Garnett. This is why he's gonna be number one if anybody asks me. And I think a lot of people, which is why I asked the question earlier, is why most people that are in this debate get so offended and get so personal and just nasty, um, when it comes to just talking about sports. Like why does it have to go to talking about someone's family or inviting someone to fight. Like, is it really that serious that you wanna fight a stranger, to, arguing about two strangers? Like, it's totally ridiculous. Some of the stuff that I see on the internet, man, arguing about two total strangers that don't know you, probably wouldn't speak to you if they saw you in the street, and then you want to fight another stranger to defend the honor and the career of a person that doesn't know anything about you. It's just weird, man.
Um, uh, uh, yeah, and I remember I was listening to it was TNT. It was like right before LeBron was about to break Kareem record, and I just remember Kenny Smith was talking about, we have to remember that Michael Jordan never lost when he had a All Star, and even though that's false, even though that's false, uh, I just was thinking like, what does that have to do with LeBron James getting this record? Like, why do we need to damper what LeBron James is always about to accomplish to
Because
make
that
Michael Jordan feel like we forgetting about him? Michael Jordan do not need our help to say how great he is. Like, that's just not something that we need. And Jalen Rose was saying that we have to remember that there's other guys who won more titles when LeBron's about to pass Kareem. Like, what does that have to do with LeBron James about to break the all-time scoring record? Like, I just do not understand like why the media do certain things. Like, what does that have to do with LeBron James becoming an all-time leading scorer that we have to constantly talk about other players winning titles?
because hey, if you remember leading up to that, it was a lot of people saying that, oh, if he gets Kareem's record, then the debate is over, or he's like, you had a lot of people saying that, and then you had some of LeBron's biggest detractors and biggest haters on the court that actually came out after he did it, saying that he was the GOAT after that. So a lot of those people in the media that will never that have said publicly that they'll never put LeBron over Jordan no matter what, they had to remind the fans and the casual people that just from time to time watch and just know these names. They had to remind those people that LeBron's a quote unquote loser, and LeBron and Jordan never lost. So it's to keep the debate from being something that's actually turning more in favor of LeBron, which it doesn't really matter, because a lot of the people that were born, in a certain era, you have us. We were born in that era where it was Mike, but we were fortunate enough to live through Kobe's era and now living through LeBron's era, so we can kind of be objective about who we choose to be the GOAT. But you have some kids that only saw Kobe play. Then you have kids like ours, believe, that only know about LeBron. So it is not even going to matter. And I kind of think that's how they're trying to keep Jordan's name in the hat, because you have the Kobe era kids now becoming adults, and then you have the LeBron era children that are growing and that are only going to know about LeBron and Steph and KD. So Jordan is going to be moving further and further back. So they have to kind of keep him out there so that everyone remembers Jordan. But I mean, all the kids wear his shoes anyway, so he's always
I
going to
don't
be
think they
around.
need to. That's why I say I don't think Jordan needs our help. Like, more people is gonna say Michael Jordan no matter what. Like, you don't really need to put down LeBron. Like, majority of the people is gonna say Jordan. That's the thing that I don't understand. Like, it's gonna be Jordan. Like, why you have to put LeBron down when it's gonna be always be Jordan? Like, I know they say like as time go on it's gonna be LeBron, but I don't see it like no time in the future. They're gonna always continue to pick Jordan. So good at Johnny.
What's good, B Lee? What's good, Travis? What's good, JG? What's good, fellas? Peace and blessings, y'all.
What's going on, brother?
Nothing much, man. I want to personally thank JG for joining the show. Brother, you have been a great insight to the show. You asked the same questions we've always wondered and we've always pondered. Why the conversation is so personal to Michael Jordan fans or those that hate on LeBron James so much. Um, and why is it always so opinionated? If the numbers say something, just accept the numbers as is, right? You don't have to necessarily try to bring in context. Like, oh, this, you got to use context. Like Travis was saying about the scoring. 3-point shooting should not knock nobody because you shoot more 3-pointers. That means that's a skill you have. You can't knock somebody for shooting 3-pointers. And then they try to knock LeBron for being a better a scorer at the rim than Jordan was. So it's like you want to knock him for 3-point shooting, you want to knock him for being better at the rim, but you want to praise Jordan for being a mid-range shooter. That doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? So like they take it so personal. They take it to where they have to create all these fake stuff because it's personal to them. So they have to create all these fake myths, all these lies, and none of it really be true. It's just Michael Jordan logic. And like you said, no other fan does that. If I told you Kevin Garnett's not that good, I'm quite sure you're not going to be upset.
No, I'm not gonna care. I'm not gonna care at all.
Exactly. So like for you, and that's your favorite player. We're not even talking about just your favorite player. We're just talking about the greatest player. You said that's your favorite player. So much so you don't even want to talk about the GOAT. So you know what I'm saying? Like it's for Jordan fans, it's personal though. Just to say Jordan's not the GOAT, forget about it. It's like you broke all basketball rules. You get called casual. You get called all kind of nonsense. It's really personal to them, and I know why, but I want to hear them tell me why. They can't really tell me.
I know Travis is here, and me and Travis been going back and forth in like comments for I guess almost a year, right?
Pretty close, man.
And yeah, and so when he came on, I was like, oh, that's another jerk about to come on our show. But he's completely different when we're actually just talking about basketball. You know, like recently, like there's no like hate about LeBron James, like anything like that, like nothing about I'm a clown or all this because I choose Jordan. Like he just talking basketball, it's like a whole different person because it's like, okay, this is how we're gonna talk basketball. It's like no hate, no this, like this is what we believe. He believes Jordan is the greatest. I believe LeBron is the greatest, and we leave it at that. Like it's no more clown stuff like the other Jordan fans be saying like you don't have you must was just born in 2004 or something, like you're from Ohio, all this other stuff. Like we can actually talk about basketball, and we ask him these questions that the Jordan fans say, and he's like, yeah, it don't make sense. It just don't make sense. It's just you're gonna choose who you like to choose, just like me and JG was talking before. Like our favorite players are not LeBron James and Michael Jordan. Like my two favorite players is Penny Hardaway and Vince Carter. And when Penny was playing, I knew Michael Jordan was better. Like I didn't, there wasn't really a thing about it. Then when Vince was playing, I knew Kobe Bryant was better. Like, someone says Kobe's better than Vince Carter. Like I know, like I'm aware. Like Kobe's better than both of my favorite players of all time. Like, I mean, Isaiah Thomas was the reason I started playing basketball, and Michael Jordan's better than Isaiah Thomas. Like it's not even a question. Kobe Bryant's better than Isaiah Thomas. It's not even a question. So when I look at the GOAT debate, it's no like emotional attachment. That's why they can't get me and like a Johnny too riled up in the comments. But Johnny gets riled up from like stupid questions. Me, I don't really care too much about their stupid questions. Like, yeah, okay, yeah. I must have LeBron James pillows and blow up dolls. Okay, yeah, that's fine with me. I must think about LeBron James more than his wife. Yeah, okay, that don't really bother me.
I think
I
Johnny
don't
has
know
the
why
blow up
why you
dolls,
saying
man.
this thing. Yeah, I don't know why you say these things, but I think LeBron James is the greatest basketball player scorer of all time. You think Jordan is the greatest basketball scorer? Let's talk about numbers. So that's what I do. I just talk about the numbers, and they talk about
In my,
different things.
in my defense, in my defense, though, my thing is the disrespect. I don't like the disrespect because if we're grown men just talking basketball, there's no need to get disrespectful, and that's what Jordan fans do. That's what I'm saying. They get disrespectful because that right there, I don't deal with that. Cause like I told Brandon when we started this, I don't want to argue with like children. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I want to talk to grown men about basketball. I don't care about your opinion. I don't care what you think. I don't care about that. You know what I'm saying? So and don't come on here telling us what you think and then trying to tell us your thoughts are the facts. And then be disrespectful, make it seem like we're just some random dudes that just create our own narratives. It's like, nah, we're looking at the stats. The numbers are in your face. Like, we're looking at the numbers. Like, let's talk the numbers. So that's for me, my thing. That's why I snap, because I just don't like people being disrespectful, because I take my time to do this stuff, bro. I'm not, as you can see, I'm a father. Like I tell you guys all the time, I'm a father, a husband. I'm a working, a by law abiding citizen. I don't got time to be arguing with Jordan fans because they're delusional. So don't come try me and disrespect me, because I will definitely get very disrespectful. I will get disrespectful quick. I don't play that, man.
You know, for like we've been doing this for over a year now. We had some unruly Jordan fans on our show. So a lot of times I'd be like, but let's just stop having them on the show because they don't listen. All they want to do is argue about stuff that don't even make sense. They lie, they do all this other stuff. And we become like, okay, let's just start having. But we actually wanted to have actual people who believe Jordan is the GOAT, who can actually talk basketball. And it was hard to find. Like Ralph and Craig, we found them like maybe 8 months after we started. Like that's how long it took to find like people who think Jordan is the GOAT, who can actually talk basketball. And then Travis just came on like a couple of weeks ago. Like it's been 3 Jordan fans that we can actually talk basketball with. Like that's how long it took us. And we have our group with 20,000 plus people in it. And we, everyone's welcome to come on the show. Like everyone's welcome to come on the show to talk basketball, but you have to bring more to the table than 10 finals and 6-0 in the finals to like talk basketball. Like, that's great, but let's talk about other stuff. Like even though Travis talked about certain advanced stats that I think is like error based, but he knows his stuff. He knows his like stats about what Michael Jordan is better than. And there's a conversation there. There's actual conversation because he actually knows these things. He's just not talking about 10 scoring titles and 6-0. I don't even think he even mentioned that once since we've been on because that's
hasn't.
not really something to mention. Like he actually talks about certain things in advanced stats, certain per game stats. So he actually knows his things.
I give that to Travis. Travis is actually one of the only Jordan fans I've talked to that doesn't make it seem like Michael Jordan is the sole reason why he has 6 championships. When it comes to Michael Jordan fans, they think everything Michael Jordan did led to winning championships. But Travis actually just brings up the stats, what Jordan actually did, his numbers, his statistical numbers, to why he's the GOAT. And he never says that, well, that's why he won 6 championships. And that's another thing, too. They come on the show like we don't know Jordan is 6-0. Like we don't know Jordan has 10 scoring titles. Like, why would you say that? We know this already. You didn't think we evaluated this when we said LeBron's the GOAT? With the 6 championships, with the 10 scoring titles, we don't have LeBron as the GOAT. Like, we know this already. But that's just them, bro. That's just them.
And my favorite player is James Worthy, so it's not even like I don't really have a dog in the fight. It's just like James Worthy and Kobe, man. I mean, if we're talking about, I don't want to say Kobe's underrated because I know he's not the GOAT, but for real, I think Kobe played probably the toughest competition all around that probably we've ever seen. Like if you just factor in everything. LeBron's up there too, but it's just like Kobe doesn't get, I think, enough love, but we'll see. It's all about James Worthy.
I'm probably gonna get they probably gonna talk about me when you post this. But I'll take Kobe over Mike. That's just me. And I'm pretty sure there's other people that probably would take him. I would take Kobe over Mike.
It's a lot of Kobe fans who take Kobe over Mike. I would take Mike over Kobe, but that's just me. But I always say they're like almost identical players, and the reason that I take Mike over Kobe because Mike did it first. That's just me. But I know they was talking about who's the best on the Olympic teams, and I said Michael and Kobe's gonna cancel each other out. They're just gonna cancel each other out because they're damn near the same player.
Yeah, it's tough to say. What sucks is that Kobe got injured, and then like he still played for like 4 more or 3 more years or whatever, and that really hurt his efficiency. And so, I mean, it was really just, I think he gets knocked on that. But Kobe all around package, man. You got the defensive teams. Should have had more than one MVP probably. Has the rings, just a great all around player. Probably could have been a little bit more of a facilitator, a little bit maybe. But
Good, Craig.
I heard y'all slithering earlier, talking about Jordan fans like that.
it's all good, man.
We was actually just talking about you. We were just talking about you a few minutes ago.
Oh, something bad, I bet.
I never. What's good? What's good?
None. Nah, I was just listening in and
Oh,
just
okay.
see I had some extra time. Everybody's asleep now, so
Can we talk about this series that's about to happen? It's gonna be great.
Yeah, that's gonna be good. I was just talking about how the Lakers had to completely change the way Steph Curry played, which is crazy how they literally made him into a scoring point guard. For the first time in his career, he had to be a scoring point guard, and he didn't do well. He shot terrible trying to be a scoring point guard because they took away what Steph Curry did the best, is allowing Draymond Green to set up the offense. So I'm interested to see what they're gonna do with Denver because I know they've been saying in the media that the reason the Lakers won versus Denver in the bubble because of Anthony Davis played so well, but that was not the case. It was Dwight Howard on Jokic. If anybody remember that series, Dwight Howard on Jokic is the reason that they won that series in 5 games. So
yeah,
I'm
because they
interested
took
what they're gonna do.
because they allowed Davis to not be a bang as a center.
Yeah.
They had Dwight playing the center and had Anthony Davis playing the power forward, which he loves to play. He played best at power forward.
Yeah, I wonder what they're gonna do. This is gonna be
They're
interesting.
gonna have to play. They're gonna have to play Mo Bamba.
Our Tristan Thompson.
But
That's
Yeah,
what they
Tristan
got him
Thompson.
for.
Yeah,
but
there you go. That's what they got him for.
but doesn't Joker play more on the perimeter anyways? Joker's not gonna bang. You think he's gonna go down on the perimeter? I mean, on the post on AD?
He's
Well,
gonna
he was
have to
playing
win.
like
I
that
don't know.
because he didn't have anybody. Remember, Jamal Murray was injured the last 2 years, so he had to play that way. Now he's back. Carter's back. He got his
Yeah,
team
that whole
back.
team is back healthy. I mean, they're
Yeah.
back with a vengeance, and
Yeah.
they're showing us in the playoffs. They're showing everybody that they're not a joke.
He about to pull a Jordy. All right, I couldn't get the MVP. I'm gonna win the Finals MVP now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
gonna
so
be an
No,
interesting
I think
series for sure.
KCP is gonna be a key factor. Yeah, I think KCP and Porter and Jokic is going to be the most important because those are the spot up shooters that they have, and obviously Jamal Murray. But I still think the Lakers are underrated defensively. I still think people are not understanding how good defensively the Lakers are. Because
most
I
when you
think
people
really
are
think
they're
about
saying
it,
the
the
best
they're the
team.
Schroeder,
best
I
defensive
mean,
team in the playoffs.
everybody been saying that they're the best defensive team in the league.
no, I know
Everybody been
that, but I'm just
saying
saying, but
this.
people are still thinking it's kind of like an outlier to them. It's not like it's just what right now. Like they don't really understand why. But the Lakers really have some good defenders. Even Austin Reeves kind of plays good defense to a certain degree when he's on the floor.
He is
Yeah, man.
actually
I
the
mean,
like weakest link on the team and defensively, but he plays defense well, and he's the weakest link.
yeah,
He plays it well,
yeah.
so they're really good.
Yeah, you got Chamorro can play defense, Vando can play defense, Schroeder can play defense, LeBron can play defense, AD can play defense. So they have some good defense, and they all could switch. They all could switch. But Aaron Gordon, Aaron Gordon, Porter, Kevin Porter Jr., and KCP and Bruce Brown are really going to be factors. Those guys are playing real good in the plan, and Jeff Green obviously is another factor too for them. So it's going to be a great series.
Yeah, I know Travis was saying Nuggets and 6, so I don't know about that. I don't know
He
about
said
Nuggets and 6 now.
the words there, man.
Hey Craig, what you think about the series? Who's gonna win? How many games?
Man, it's to me, if AD is healthy for the whole series, then I got the Lakers going to the finals. He's the key.
Yeah, what you think, JG?
I can't call it.
They call it
I'll
yet?
say, I can't call it, man. I have to see that first game because, like I always argue with you, I think the Lakers are so inconsistent. It pisses me off the way that they play. Like you could blow someone out, and then you turn around and get blown out, and it's just they're so inconsistent that I just don't like picking. I don't like picking how many games they're gonna win. I just let it go, and I don't even try to pick, because when I pick, I'm wrong. So I just leave it alone.
Oh, what you think, Travis? You think still Nuggets in 6?
I think
Travis was
listen, you can get joking, pole sticks, chopsticks, Lakers in 6.
yeah. I do think the Lakers in 6 because I don't think they're capable of beating teams before that because of how they play. Like they're gonna play hard at home, no matter what. Like if it's a like game winning series, they're gonna come out of. I think that's just the like LeBron effect. Remember, every time like in like the bubble when it was time to win a game, the Lakers defense just turned it up another notch. Like versus the Heat, that game 6 wasn't even close. After they blew that game 5, but that game 6 that wasn't even close. They just turned it up, and you saw that versus the Grizzlies when it was game 6. They just turned it up. Versus Golden State, which I think Golden State, if the Lakers didn't play Golden State, they would have beat Denver because the way they shoot the ball. And I don't think they didn't have someone who could take Draymond Green completely out the series. That was only something that the Lakers could do because they play LeBron and Anthony Davis. Like they completely took Draymond Green out the series, and that's why the Lakers won. Like out Golden State could have probably won a title this year if it wasn't for the Lakers. So
Ooh, I don't
I
know
think the
about Golden
Lakers.
State now.
I mean, yeah, it's different now because the Lakers exposed them, and now everyone's going to play them a certain way.
Dude, they might
Like
not
they
be the
completely
same team next year.
Yeah, they completely exposed them. They completely
I'm talking
exposed them.
about personnel.
Yeah, like they just said, like, whoa, if teams catch on to what the Lakers was doing, we can't have the same team on the court no more. And that's the way they won last year. That's the way they won last year.
That's why they ran and got KD, because they realized that LeBron did it to them in 2016. He did it
Yeah.
again 7 years later. Anyways, like I told you, I'm gonna get up out of here, fellas. My
All right.
Heat Lakers finals. I told y'all from the beginning of the season, Heat Lakers finals. Yeah.
Well, if
All
y'all
right,
play
see you, man.
Philly in the Eastern Conference, that might happen. Because I don't see Doc Rivers making a final since.
Man. Yeah, if he lose this series, he's out of Philly. He's like all his coaches are getting fired. He's going to be the next one if they lose today.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he hasn't been to the finals since 2010.
Yeah, if he lose today, he might as well just retire from basketball because I don't think anyone's going to hire him again.
Nope.
Like,
Which,
I mean, you got like championship winning teams in the last 5 years. Their coach get fired. Like, it's crazy. Everyone's getting fired because they're not winning titles. But I don't know who the Suns gonna find better than Monty Williams. Like, he had a completely different team, and they expect him to turn everything around in 20 games, and he got canned. So
I'm hearing they looking to move off of Ayton and Chris Paul too.
yeah,
All
they're
that.
gonna have
They
to do
got
something with
KD
Chris
stuck
Paul.
for 4 seasons with him.
Yeah, they're gonna have to do something with Chris Paul because that contract and his production is nowhere near close, and he's never there in the playoffs.
Kyrie going to Phoenix. You hit it here first.
That would be crazy if they match them back up. I wonder where Kyrie Irving's going.
Sign and trade. Chris Paul for Kyrie.
I really wonder where Kyrie Irving going. Yep.
Hey, did y'all see the idiot John Morant?
Oh,
he's
suspended again.
That is crazy. I was hoping it was fake. But apparently it wasn't.
This dude is crazy, man. Like you just got your own signature shoe released and all this stuff, man. And you about to, man, this dude is just self-destructing, man. It's ridiculous.
She's like, I get it, you're a huge superstar, but dude, what possesses you? It's just like Ruggs in Vegas at the Raiders. Like, what is gonna possess you to just do all that. Like, like you're super rich. I would have a team of guys preventing me from doing stupid shit at all times. Like,
It's hard, I guess. It's hard. It's
I
hard.
guess,
It must be
They
yeah,
got
very
a bunch
hard.
of
Nigga ain't
yes
bright,
men.
man. He not bright.
you just feel
It must
invincible. I
be.
guess when you're rich, it's just like, okay,
He just not listening to anybody. In his mind, he's not doing anything wrong. He doesn't understand that he's John Morant yet. He just doesn't understand that.
He's
He's just
about to
thinking
be
he's
Ja.
just
Whatever his real name is, they're about to start calling him that because he's gonna be the lost the privilege of being called Ja. Because Naismith got him thinking he tough. Abbreviated name.
yeah.
yeah. I feel bad for the dude because he just can't get right. I don't know what to say about Ja right now. Crazy.
Well,
I thought it was fake.
just to touch on that series really fast because I was, I think that I think okay, Lakers can win. I don't think they'll have the same. Obviously, the free throws I think are going to be a watch series because Denver's not going to shoot 53 in the game. They'll play a little bit more like the Lakers do because they're also kind of an inside out team. Jokic was bodying Ayton and whoever else they put in there this series. Obviously, I think AD can defend him better than Dion or that Ayton could, but I think it's really just going to come down to who plays a better defense, who gets hot at the right time. I think the Nuggets have, I want to say better overall personnel from like just an overall like shooting perspective, a little bit more depth, but who knows, man? I mean, is a Johnny Walker going to come in and drop 15 points in a quarter again and fucking carry them, or is Reeves going to score 20 game? It's going to be a good series. I think it's really, if Joker wildly outplays AD, then that'll win, and vice versa. So we'll see.
Yeah, as I said,
think
it's all up
they're
to
gonna
AD to me.
I think they're gonna have to do something with that AD Joker matchup. I don't think AD could guard him the whole game. They're gonna have to bring in one of their bigs to guard Jokic.
Yeah,
I think they're
I
gonna have
agree.
to but I don't know who AD is gonna guard on the other end then.
I think they'll play more of a zone a little bit. Do you think?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if they can because
Shooting. Yeah.
Denver can all shoot.
Mm-hmm.
They got Gordon, who's not a great 3-point
I was
shooter.
just
He's
about to
not gonna
say,
shoot
yeah,
too many
everybody
of
except
them.
for Aaron
Like
Gordon.
like that's the only player I think he could guard effectively and like not be in foul trouble is Gordon.
Just don't get
Yeah.
dunked on.
I think Contavious Caldwell Pope's going to score 40 a game. So
yeah, like that matchup, LeBron on Michael Porter Jr.
that'll be a fire matchup.
Yeah, but thing is, he's not going to get enough shots to like expose anything on the Lakers. Murray, they're gonna sick their pit bulls on Murray like they did Steph Curry because they got a lot of guards who could guard guards and KCP. So I think the most important matchup is getting AD off of Jokic as much as possible. But I don't know how they're gonna do that because you bring in another big, they're not gonna have shooting because Mo Bamba been hurt since he got there.
Yeah.
So he can't guard Jokic anyway. The only person on that team who could guard Jokic effectively is probably Tristan Thompson.
Yeah.
So,
That's facts.
so right now it looks like Denver may have the edge. It just depends on when the Lakers come to show up to play.
Yeah.
Mind you, only really Anthony Davis and LeBron has this much experience. You mean that you starting people who ain't even never made it this far in no playoff, let alone been in the playoffs, let alone been this far in the playoffs. So that comes into play too.
But like they really got thrown together in the last month of the season. They've been playing playoff ball so long. That's why they're been playing so good because they've been playing for their for their seed since March. So they literally been in a battle since they've been in, and they have enough. They knocked off the second number 2 seed, the defending champs. Like right now at this moment, I think that experience level is not really important anymore. I don't think that's important anymore. Yeah, we're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see. I think most of the people are picking Denver to win, but they picked the Grizzlies, Golden State to beat the Lakers too. So we're just gonna see how the first game plays out. We're gonna see how the first game plays out, and the Lakers usually come out ready in game one. So if they lose game one, it'll probably be a different story.
Yeah, it'll be a good series. I think. Regardless, I'm looking forward to the. Well, I think the Celtics are going to win today. I just have a feeling, but Celtics Heat, let's go.
Yeah, I think the Celtics gonna win too. Like just like we were saying, like this is probably Doc's last time coaching in NBA. I think after
Yeah,
if he lose this series today, I think Doc's done, and they'll probably pick up, you know, one of these coaches who got fired, one of these championship coaches who got fired. So they're probably gonna try to run it back. But I just don't think the 76ers have the team to be a title contender. I just don't think
yeah.
they
I
do.
mean, we'll
Harden's
see what
getting older
happens.
too. you know. But all
They just
right,
need to some more
y'all.
breakthrough.
Yeah, all right, y'all. It's been a good show. Let's get off. It's about time for me to start getting ready to cook my wife a feast. I don't know about you guys. You guys probably got a lot of things to do too. So we'll be on next Sunday, the full panel back, Johnny back, doing this thing. Shout outs to everyone in our comments, shout out to everyone who joined in. Keep It Real. Frederick Ghost was on here. Philip was on here. Just shout out to everybody. LeBron Legacy Podcast, Sneaker King, Twine Grant, Zero. Of course, Zero's always up here. Shout out to everyone who joined on. Travis, thanks for coming on again, dropping knowledge. JG, Johnny got on a little bit. Craig. See you guys next week. All right, we out.
For sure. Bye.